Okay, we're good. Okay, what's good? Did you say you wanted to share something last time, Lua, or no?
Oh yeah, it was in regards to the church thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I remember like during the pandemic, my mom brought me to this like live church event, I guess her friends are hosting. And there was this pastor there, very eccentric looking guy, like almost like you look Cuban with like his white slick back hair, and he was like preaching. And I remember I was like in position to record everything. So like I was recording the whole process, and he was like coming up to people that allegedly had like all these demons in them. And like there was this like one white lady, like when he was in the middle of preaching, like she just started like convulsing, like right. So like I moved the camera towards her, right? And when I moved the camera towards her, the pastor starts approaching her. He's just like, "We have a demon, we have a demon," right? And like basically all his like congregation just circle around him, and like this girl is just like doing the whole convulsing like exorcism, right? And like he's just like, "What is your purpose here, demon?" And she's like, "I'm here to ruin her life." Like the whole time, like it was funny because I kept like zooming in on the camera, like the more she started convulsing, and I was just like, "Oh my God, this is like Academy Award level acting." Like I believe her. I'm like, so like he would like do like this whole smiting thing, and everyone around him would like do the whole smiting thing, and she would just like, bruh. She's like, And, like it got to the point where like she got on the floor, and then like she started shaking really fast, really fast. I was like, oh my God. And I told the guy with the camera, I was like, can I like move the camera there? And he was just like, no, you're not supposed to be recording this.
Wait, why not? I think that's like, if anything, that just makes it more anecdotal, where it's like, he lives,
Yeah.
lives.
See, like they were mad at me the whole time because I kept like zooming in on things that I was supposed to zoom into. Like I was supposed to keep it wide, right? But like every time something exciting happened, I just like slowly zoom. Right? And like the pastor at the end of the service is just like, we've never gotten more hits on Facebook. You need to come back. And I was just like, I'm like, that's not me, man. You give me the material, I'll record it.
Where was this?
This was in Dallas. It was like during the pandemic.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Like at a hotel. Like I guess he was like a traveling pastor, and he just like does all these like special services for people.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How many of those did you do? Just that
Oh,
one?
yeah, I only did one because it was like right before I went to Los Angeles. So
Oh, okay, okay.
like yeah. Like, I
Uh,
really wanted to do more. Like the cameramen hated me because the pastor gave me so much praises for doing that. So he's just like, we don't want you back again. Like come
Well,
in.
because you probably took the most creative liberty out of,
Yeah.
you know,
Like
you changed the game.
yeah,
yeah.
bro. You changed the televangelist game, bro, with that one.
Yeah.
Have you been to any church situation in LA?
Yeah, yeah. My buddy, he took me to this like influencer church.
Oh yeah. Was it called Everyone?
It's called The One.
Okay, okay. It sounds the same.
Pretty
Yeah,
much, it's all pretty much the same kind of world.
$40 smoothies.
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah. And it's funny because like it's literally like D-list actors and
Oh yeah.
Instagram influencers,
Okay.
right? So it's like it's like supposed to be like this like networking, you know, pseudo church environment. It
Yeah.
was nice, but like I didn't feel the love there when I was there because you could just tell like the facade of you
Yeah.
know trying to get content at a certain moment sort of trumped the whole. church vibe, and I was like, no, I don't think I can come back to this.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like that secret church. I don't think it's a church, but that secret gathering they do in like the ultra wealthy people where they burn like owls and shit. Have you heard of that? It was like this Alex Jones type shit.
Oh, Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's like probably like 5 levels below that, and then it just if you keep going to these churches, you'll eventually end up there if you have enough connections or something.
Right. You'll eventually end up on the Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can only imagine like what a church full of D-list actors and influencers is like. Like so when everyone is worshiping, everyone just has their phone out, their selfie sticks out, and they're just like, my Redeemer lives with their selfie stick, like,
Oh.
you know, it's such a dystopian kind of thing to look at.
Or a tripod in front of them.
Yeah, try everyone got their tripod in front and they're just like,
That's literally what I go to this one gym here. Like every day I see a guy or a girl with a tripod in their back and they're just like and the tripod is there. Like who's looking at this? I don't know.
wait, so it's funny that you mentioned tripod because like now I have a question for Lua. What is gymming like in California, specifically LA? Because I feel like tripods are everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of depends on what gym you go to, right? Because like, when I used to go to Equinox, you know, there was this like saying of like hoes work out in the afternoon. So like if you ever went out like to the gym around like 12 to 2, like you couldn't avoid anyone like recording, like because like it was just everywhere,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, it just depends on what gym you go to. Cause like, when you go to the more influencer type gyms, you always have to be weary of it, because like literally people are actually like they're kind of working, like actually making content, and some people are just like recording themselves to like try to get to that level. So there's certain people that you can tell have been doing this like professionally because like they have the little recorder and they're like
Oh.
it's like okay, third rep, third set, and then like you'll be walking, you'll be like
Wait, so like how have you ever like been in a situation? So you know how like on the internet there'd be like viral situations where like somebody would get cursed out for walking in their video, or like maybe like they might feel like they're being harassed and they might go viral. Like have you ever been live in a situation like that where someone is filming and then someone just tweaks the fuck out?
see, not necessarily filming, but I would say I've been in situations where like, girls would like be doing their sets and then they come up to me or me and my friend that I was with and say like, hey, like there's like a guy over there that's like, giving me eyeballs. I was just wondering if you guys could like stand around just so I can feel a little bit safe. And like when in the moment you're just like, oh, okay, I feel sorry for you. But then like as you're just looking at the situation, you're like, bitch, I'm not your man. Like I'm gonna work out. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, hopefully he doesn't do anything, but we're here if he does. Like, yeah, because like if there's this thing of like, the the gym bro energy, like a lot of people feel safe when they're there, right? So like whenever you're like the nice gym guy, everyone just leans on you for like help and advice. You know, like there have been like situations too where like a girl has like asked me to help her do her like squats, and like I'll literally tell her like, how much help do you need? Because like if you want me to go low with you, right? Like I just want to tell you that up front. Like if you're gonna fail at this set and you fall, like this is what's gonna happen. Versus like me just standing behind you, being like, "Yep, good work. Yep, love you guys." Yeah. Because like there was like this one instance where like I helped a girl like actual like squat down, right? Because she was like supersetting, right? And I was helping her, and like she was like kind of stuck. She's like, and I was like, oh, hold on, pull up, pull up. And she's like, that's a little close. And I was just like, well, fuck you then. Like,
Why would you ask me this?
She's like,
yeah, yeah,
you missed this.
yeah, so I stepped back and she really just drops the weight. And I was just like, so you didn't need me here. I was like, you just made me feel bad on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I think that's kind of her way to flex, like, it's like I could call on you whatever, you will show up kind of thing. Because
Exactly.
that's the thing with gyms. I feel like with gyms, like gym etiquette is it's so lost nowadays. And I think it's come like with more like people just being socially anxious. Because like me and my boy were talking about this before, like because my boy he like young, young guy. Well, not super young, but like young-ish. He's like late 30s, but young guy. And he's just like, bro, like I don't know what it is. I remember in 2012, I would be pulling chicks' numbers left and right at the gym. Now, if I go up to a girl and I try to get her number, she looks at me as if like I have foam in my mouth. So like that's the thing. Like I feel like now like the gym, I feel like it has 180 in terms of just like etiquette. Because that you saying that, I'm like, I don't even know how to even navigate. Because like you ask for my help, and then when I give you my help, you're like, well, distance. And then like you don't even need my help. You just wanted me there. But like to me, it's like, how's that even from an etiquette wise? It's like, how do you even navigate? Like,
No,
what is new
you
gym
need to
etiquette?
ask for consent for every little thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like if like the whole point of the gym is to be like social. Like, yeah, like focus on your workout, but it's like you're around people, it's a social environment. So like that's where social anxiety should like kind of leave. And I don't think anyone in the gym is like, no, I don't want to help you. No, I don't want to see you improve. It's kind of like a sense of like, hey, we're all there for each other. So now it's just kind of like I don't even know. It's like why are like gyms just so like tense nowadays?
Mhm.
You
See,
know?
it's weird to me because like gyms today sort of seem like how the club seems like, where like people do their best to look approachable but don't want to be approached, right? Because like I'm not like the type of person that's like, oh well, you're wearing that, so you're looking for attention.
Right.
But there's certain outfits and there's certain colors that immediately draw people to you, right? So like when you see someone in like a full hot pink outfit and they have like the meanest face on, you're just like, well, what are you trying to do? Like because there's a way where no one looks at you and you'll be fine. But it's like this like thing of like I want to look hot, but I want to look like I have the choice to shun you away if you choose to approach me. It's like, okay, well, no one's really gonna be staring at you, but they're all gonna side eye you because you have the little seam stitch in the back that makes you look more appealing
Yeah.
than you are.
I
Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day. I was like, "Oh, going to the gym now is like going to a strip club where you can't look."
No, 100%, 100%. See, because like it's weird. Like I think that like the way the mind works, right, is like whenever you see something that is, not normal, you immediately just draw your attention to it. Not maybe like that long, but you just take a glance and be like, okay, like what is that peeking out of the corner? Then you might go back to what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of things that happen Like even the people that like, grunt super loudly whenever they do their sets, or like they'll like have all the like equipment, like they'll like have like the knee pads, they'll like do all the chalk, they'll clap and then do like the smelling salt and be like, ah,
Like, ah, ah, ah.
it's like that flex of just like, oh, like maybe don't look at me, but I'm about to do something that I think is serious. So like, maybe pay attention a little, but don't give me too much attention to distract me.
Yeah.
Like it's a
Yeah.
weird thing. It's
Uh,
like, what you about to say?
yeah, one thing I hate, especially, is that when I see a dude like put on, I don't know, 345s or more on a squat rack,
Mhm.
and then they just do a, you know, they just do a, and you can see the legs like, and then
Yeah.
like, ah, what are we doing?
But I think they just wanted to flex weight, you know. I feel like a lot of people go to the gym just to flex, like I can lift heavy. But it's like you really can't, but it's just like they just want the look of like I can lift heavy. It's like, no, bro, you're just all aesthetics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're all aesthetics, you have no strength. No strength. But like I don't know, it's so funny, man. It's so funny, like even like the idea of like a gym like being like compared to a club. Because when I think about it, it's the exact same. Like guys go in there to flex, right? Go in there to flex, but don't talk to nobody. Girls go in there to be looked at, but don't want to be approached. It's like, why? I don't know. It's just so funny. Like when you get a situation where there are guys and girls and social, how everyone just kind of goes into this. It always just kind of seems like very. It always kind of just alleviates to like, oh, this is a club now. Like no matter what it is, like it could be like a run club, it could be like the gym, it could be anything. If there's like a situation where it's just guy and girls, it's just everyone just reverts to like club mentality where it's just like I want to flex, I want to look good, but don't want to be approached kind of thing. Like it's just everybody just kind of reverts to that,
Yeah.
which is so funny because like every time I talk to like my boy, he's just like, man, like it just never used to be like that. Like I feel like people used to just be so open to conversation. But it's like now, like you talk to folks, it's like they feel like you're gonna like rob them,
Yeah.
you know?
See, because there's this idea, I think, in like the human psyche where it's just like people like the idea of being chosen, right? Like someone saying like, "Hey, like you're doing really good. Like I see you're really fit," or like, "Hey, you look really pretty," right? But I think there's like certain things that come after that being chosen that gives that person a sense of, well, now I get to make a choice whether I want to continue this interaction, right?
Yeah,
So it's like if someone compliments you, right? If you're like a nice person and they ask you questions about like, hey, like where do you get your clothes? Or like, what's your workout routine? Right? Then you'll be more open to engage because you're like, oh, like, well, this is something that I identify as important to me and I'm willing to share it, right? Versus a situation where if someone asks you something and you're like very secretive about, maybe you might be taking something, or maybe like, you know, you get like your clothes on like super discount and you don't want people to know that you're like a bargain shopper. You're just like, I don't know, man, it's just me,
yeah,
like it's just what I do. Like it's like the energy of like, like not showing all your cards in like one hand of poker. It's like, okay, how do I slowly reveal everything, right? To still keep this sense of validation, but not come off as I'm an open book. Here's everything, and then they walk away and they don't accept me. You know, it's like this weird game of that you're trying to play of like, okay, I gotta
yeah.
reveal.
Give them enough, but not everything. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, everyone. Have you ever heard the term aura farming? It's like a younger term, but it's like
What's
the
that?
idea of just like aura farming. Aura farming. Have you ever heard that term? Very Gen Z term, but essentially it's just like the idea of aura farming is like people kind of showing up, uh, trying to appear, or even if they are, look the coolest or feel the coolest, and everyone be like, "Wow, that person's cool," and then they just leave.
Oh, just like getting real world likes. Is that?
Yeah, essentially, it's like, "Oh, who's this guy? This guy, or who's this girl? Who's this lady?" And then they're just like, that's like all they needed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could
Yeah,
see that.
yeah. I feel like that's like the thing. That's like the new thing where it's like everybody just wants to be perceived as cool.
Yeah.
And once they get that, they're like, I'm good.
Mhm.
Uh, but what is cool anymore? Like I mean, I feel like the internet has segregated people into very specific circles, because of content, because of everything, right? Before the internet, it was like, oh, you're pop or you're rock or you're like rap or like or you're like an athlete kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like that was the major. And now with the internet, oh, and that was because like MTV and all these shows, that's the only thing you could watch. And now with the internet, you have all sorts of things. So like what is cool anymore? Like cool is like very specific to groups now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like before, like cool used to be sold. You know what I mean? Like even as a kid, like extreme sports, like that was cool. Like the idea of extreme sports was cool. Or
Yeah,
like
you a music video and you would see someone wearing specific sneakers and you'll be like, "Oh my God, I need those."
yeah,
Blah, blah, blah.
yeah. Or like they'll have like the Bel Air bottle. You're like, oh, you gotta drink that because that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I feel like with the internet now, it's so broad to where it's like anything can really be cool. It's just whoever's looking at it. So like whoever got the most like looks and views, it's like, oh, that's cool. And it can literally be anything. It can be the most lamest shit on earth. But as long as a lot of people are looking at it, they're like, that's the coolest shit ever.
see, because I think it's interesting. Like I watched this documentary like yesterday. It was about like Vogue in the '90s, right? And like they basically go through like each like sort of style trend in like that decade because like it was obviously advancing super quick. Like they went into, when glamour started, when grunge started, uh when Americana started, when hip hop culture was kind of booming, and then it went back to glamour again. And like to me, it's funny because I think a lot of things, especially when, before the internet, they were so in your face that it seemed like this is the only thing that exists and is really cool, right? I think the idea of subculture, like translating with like the internet generation, sort of made everything seem like it's all accessible just if you're in the right circles, right? Like if you're like a super like punk person, and you like that aesthetic, you can find your people without having to leave your neighborhood, and it's like this idea that everything has always existed, but unless it has been pushed to the forefront by people that deem to say that this person is the idol for this subculture, then it never really got celebrated as much. You know, like I really think that you know there are a lot of different subcultures that exist today and back then that a lot of people know about and reference in certain things that are in their life. But I think like the main focus thing that always gets pushed forward is always the model that people tend to reference, right? Like there's like no sense of individualism when it comes to a lot of things that happen because everything has always existed and will continue to exist. You know, like the idea of being a rebel in today's day and age, like if you were to define what a rebel is, like what would your definition of rebel be?
Right, going against the bigger thing, but what is the bigger thing right now?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so many.
Because even if you're like, okay, I wanna be like radical, right? Like I wanna say like, oh, like fuck normal politics, fuck, the train of thought that people usually say, and people would be like, well, Kanye's doing that now, so you're not really that original,
Yeah.
right? Like, or if you're saying like, I wanna wear makeup, I wanna like, do my eyes a certain way, color my hair. You're like, well, everyone's doing that now. You're not that special. If you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to dress preppy, I want Ralph Lauren cut, I want golf shirts. It's like, well, again, there's a group of people doing that. You're not that special. It's like the idea of rebelling doesn't really exist because it seems like everyone's always rebelling against something, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't really exist anymore, which kind of is interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
and I think there's no because you rebel because you're fighting against, as I said, like the bigger thing. But I think like right now there's nothing like that anymore. Like no, nobody's like, oh, let's fight against that. Like I guess what I'm saying is like people are not that united enough to like, oh, let's rebel against this other thing. That's um
And I think a lot of people are just starting to give a fuck less.
yeah, exactly.
Because I remember, because I feel like there's a time where, like for instance, like Lou, you brought the Kanye rants on Twitter. I feel like there is a time where people would have been losing their shit over what Kanye's tweeting. And even like when you read the tweets that Kanye are tweeting out, you're like, wow, this guy is, what I mean? He's just pretty much unleashing whatever is just coming to his head. And there was a time where people would be like, what's going on with Kanye? What's going on with Kanye? But the fact that Kanye, one of the biggest influential artists of all time, can go online and say the things that he's saying, and everyone's just kind of like,
Yeah, whatever.
yeah, it's just kind of like, I think that just kind of shows like where we're at as a society. It's just like, man, like,
Yeah, and I think that's because again, there's no like big establishment like, oh my, well, first you're like, oh my God, he's gonna get in trouble because the big guys are gonna come for him, or like, oh, he's rebelling, like he's jumping the fence and oh, he's gonna get in trouble. But there's no getting in trouble. Like how is he gonna get in trouble? It's like nobody
yeah,
cares.
because like X, the platform, Elon Musk, and then Elon Musk has associations with Trump. It's like at the same time, like they all have. He might seem like he's rebellion with the things that he's saying, but it's like, is he even rebelling, or is he
Right.
just kind of pushing that ethos of like this is just kind of like the world that we're in now, where like nobody gives a fuck. You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, and again, it's like you you try to be obedient because you depend on something, and then someone rebels. It's like, oh my God, he's not gonna get fed. It's like I'm just saying in general terms, it's like you
Mhm.
follow the line because you want to eat or something, you want to get your thing because you depend on it. And then, oh, you see someone rebelling. Oh my God, everybody's scared because like, what's gonna happen to him? He's not gonna be safe.
Mhm.
But there's no like the stakes are lower now, I guess.
Yeah, I think that the stakes are definitely lower, but I don't know. It's so funny because I feel like now, because when I go on the internet now and I see the kind of space where the internet's at now, it's like it feels like it's like 2002. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where like online AOL chat rooms of people just say where the fuck,
Yeah, yeah.
people just knowing like, oh, this is just the internet. That's what it feels like. It almost kind of feels like the internet's going back to what it was a bit of just like, seeing and reading the most out of pocket shit, but like no one giving a fuck because like, oh, this is just the internet, you know?
Yeah, because back then it's like, oh, Kanye's getting canceled. Well, he's not gonna be on MTV, and everybody's watching MTV. So what the fuck is he gonna do now?
Yeah,
Oh, it's like you have your voice regardless, right? There's no
yeah,
canceling. Like, what is he gonna be canceled out of? He can still publish music. He can still make videos if he wants to. It's like there's no.
yeah. Yeah, it's like it's in the sense of just like. there's nothing like holding him back in terms of just him being able to do the things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, it's like there's there's a world now where it's like no one even cares.
Yeah.
Before people used to care, but like no one cares now.
Yeah, and then that goes back to what's cool anymore, right? Because it's like
Yeah,
nobody cares. Because I remember when I like middle school, high school, you want to get like I don't know the cool thing because you're gonna get feedback because you go to school and like oh damn he has the whatever, right? And then I remember when I started working like started earning money, I was living by myself in Tampa. And I was like, oh, let me go to the mall to get this thing. And I remember stepping into the mall and just being like, wait, who's gonna see this? I'm gonna I'm gonna buy these Jordans or whatever. And who I haven't like I was living by I didn't know anyone there in the city is like, oh, I finally have the money. It's like, oh, but I don't have the feedback loop.
yeah,
What's the point now?
yeah,
That was like a moment in my life where I was like, the whole point is because of your friends and your feedback loop will like be celebrating what you did, you know?
hmm. And I
Um,
think that's the thing. It's like the feedback loop, because like the thing is now the feedback loop is the world. Because once you post it on the internet, it's like the world to see. So like I don't even. It's like getting dressed just to stay home, playing video games, not just because to be with your friends, but to just like, be wild. Because like you know how people make video game content and stuff like that. It's just the thing of just not for your friends to see, but like the world to see. It's like everyone kind of paints this picture of like this is what I want the world to see. So like when everyone does anything, it's always just like this is for the
yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So then it's like, okay, what is cool? And it's like cool doesn't even have a meaning anymore because now it's just like cool is just whatever you think it is
Right.
because now the internet has made the world smaller and made things that seem very niche gain a lot of attention and views. So now it's like anything can be cool just depending on who's looking at it.
I think for me, it has evolved to what is, well, now it's, as I said, it was like the feedback loop, and I knew like getting something would trigger a feedback loop, but now it's just like what's comfortable. I just don't care. Like, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna get something because it's comfortable. It's like, I don't, it's just for me, you know? Like, I don't need the feedback or whatever.
yeah.
100%. See, do you think that you guys will ever get to a point where there is something that exists in the world that you're really, you know, going to rally against, be like, yeah, I identify with this thing that everyone is saying, like wholeheartedly, like that I would like go march in the street with them. Like, do you think there's anything like that that you think would ever grab your attention again, or you think it will never happen to you guys ever?
I think that happens when the more you have skin in the game of something, the more you are fighting for it, right? So I don't know, maybe the moment we get a house, right? And then that's when you're like, why is this not like this? I'm paying for this. Like I have skin in
Yeah,
you have skin in the game now, so it's like, what hey, why is this like that and why is it not like this, right? But until the less skin in the game you have, it's just like I don't need to fight for it. So what I don't care what happens. So I think that's the point.
It's interesting because like even the idea of skin in the game when it comes to something, because there's a lot of issues that we all have like a reason to see go through, but when you see other people rallying for it on your behalf, there's this sense of like, oh, okay, I don't need to go outside, like, they're doing the work for me.
like good job, guys. I think that's like a lot of people. That's like a lot of people on the internet. It's like they'll see like internet activism to me is so frustrating because it's just like it's just other people seeing other people doing hard work and then being like, "You go, guys," and it's like you're not doing shit. You're like you're literally just you're doing as much as the person who doesn't do anything at all and doesn't even care about it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the idea, like when people like share things like, oh, share this on your story so it can be world spread. It's like we're on the internet. If you're on the internet, you're gonna see it. So like you sharing it with me did not influence me in terms of not knowing about this because one, this is happening in the world, and also it's on the internet. Like it's plastered.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. It's just like skin in the game. That's definitely like a big thing. Like having skin in the game in terms of just like caring for it. But then also like some people don't even have skin in the game and they're just like they just want to they just want to appear to be like, oh, this is something that matters. But it's like in their everyday, they don't do like shit about it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah. Because there's so many things you can do to help, right? Like you might feel a certain way about a cause, and you might even talk to your friends about a cause. But as soon as you go to the grocery store and they said, "You want to round up to donate?" You're like, "No, no, 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 I don't care that much. No, no, no."
yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's this idea that unless it's coming to your front door, and it's an immediate problem that you need to react to, then it never really seems as big of an issue as it is. Like no matter how many times people are telling it to you, because again, that you just understand that there's so many other problems that exist that once they finally come up to me, then I can decide to react because caring about everything is like caring about nothing.
Right.
Yeah, because you could give energy to so many different things to actually help, but you only have so much energy in the day that it's not worth it to give it all to every single cause.
yeah. I think it's just also it's also just like what matters and affects like me and my loved ones, right? Because I think the pandemic helped a lot of people realize, like, man, like, you know, everyone cares about your problems until like your problems happen and then no one cares. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because like with the pandemic, they realize like, wow, like all these issues that people care about, it's like they do like they might still care about them, but like the everyday things are happening, like, oh, like not be able to afford like daily living or, like not housing security, food security, all these things, you realize like, wow, like my problems are at the forefront versus like the world's problems being like this. And so it's like, okay, like I can only focus on things that I can change and things that matter to me, because I'm not gonna be the savior of like the world. I'm only one person. So I think like everyone just kind of realized like, man, like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I'll if it affects the ones that I care about, me or just anything in my community vicinity, then it's like okay. But then when outside of that, it's like I don't have to pretend to because like the pandemic